You, help defend the Legion. Subscribe now, and we can win the war.
First up on the list is Knight Artorias. Now, what can we say about this guy? Run. Don't play the DLC. Run away. Save yourself while you still have time. He is an absolute fiend, relenting attacks, super quick, which for me, the hardest bosses in Dark Souls are the fast ones, the quick ones, the one that move well. By the time you get to Knight Artorias in the DLC, you are well equipped to fight him physically, but mentally, he will bring you back down to a spot where you think you just started playing Dark Souls for the first time again. And he's just easily an S tier boss. He'll wake you up real quick in the DLC, that's for sure. He will wake you up every time. Next up, we have Asylum Demon. Wow. You stick to this guy's butt, you will not be touched. You will not be hurt. It might smell bad, but if that's the worst that comes out of Asylum Demon, that's okay, because when you kill that first boss of the game in Dark Souls, that is the feeling that you need throughout the playthrough. You're going to get kicked down a lot. Yeah, for sure. But Asylum Demon is not the guy that's going to beat you down. You stick to his butt, you sniff it, you smell those farts. Easy victory for you, which is why we're going to put him in the D tier. Now, they send me right into Bed of Chaos. What can we say about Bed of Chaos? I'm sorry. It's not your fault are some of the words associated with Bed of Chaos, because, well, he might be the only boss in the game you can one-hit. Getting to there is half the battle. But to get to the person you gotta hit is an absolute miserable time. And unless you know the speedrun strat with the fire bombs, you are gonna be relentlessly coming back to this boss arena just to even sniff a chance at fighting him. But with that said, there is a cheesy strat to kill him with fire bombs. Most people don't know it. With that being said, I'm going to put Bed of Chaos in the A tier just because there is a way out if you know it. But besides that, he's a nightmare. Next up, Belfry Gargoyle, baby. Now, don't let the name deceive you. There are two. It's the gargoyles, not the gargoyle, all right? One of my favorite bosses, just because one of my favorite weapons in Dark Souls is the gargoyle's halberd, which bell gargoyles have a chance to drop. Never too difficult early game. You can chop the first one's tail off, does a good amount of damage to them. Nothing crazy there. Definitely a good, intro boss. They move pretty well. They have a ton of different movesets. The tail axe attacks will get you. The fire might get you. Having two bosses early on in the game might be a little difficult. So I'm going to put this guy, it's between B or C, and I might change it later on depending on what other slots we see here. But for now, early boss, nothing crazy. I'm going to put him in the C tier slot. Next up, we got the Capra Demon. I'm going to go ahead and say this now. Worst boss arena in any Souls game. If you guys think otherwise, leave a comment down below. You're in like a box. You're just in a little box. Just a little tiny box. Not only that, there's two dogs that'll come at you right away. Or at least one of them will. But there's two dogs in the arena. In the little fun box arena. Two dogs, you, and a boss. So just because of that, I want to put him in the B tier. But I have a feeling when we look back in the end, I might throw him back up in A tier, because he is always a boss you don't want to fight. Next up, we have Ceaseless Discharge. Now, the first time I played Dark Souls, I killed him. Little did I know, you could run all the way back to the fog door and he'll jump at you and claw the ground, holding on for dear life. And if you just hit his hand a couple times, he'll fall off to his death and instantly chunk his whole health bar. Not a lot of people know that on their first playthrough. With that being said, obviously Ceaseless doesn't continue to be hard once you know how to cheese him. You're never not going to do that strategy. Let's be honest. I'll put him in the C tier just because people might not know the strategy. But if you do, GG's. Centipede Demon is next. Not anything crazy of a boss. His boss arena can be challenging just because there is lava everywhere. If you fight him by the fog door, it might be a little difficult. I usually peel out to the right, and there's a bigger open area there to fight him, where we usually go to. He's nothing crazy. By the time you fight him, you're pretty stacked up and solid at that point. I put him in the B tier just because of the boss arena, which makes me want to put Capra at A tier now, seeing him here, because Capra is definitely worse. Just as worse as Bed of Chaos, unless you know the cheese, obviously, because then he would be there. But yeah, not Ceaseless. Centipede Demon, we're going to put him in the B tier. Next up, we got Quail Egg. Quail Egg, okay. Quail Egg's one where she's tough first time around, and then after that, doesn't continue to be tough. Quail Egg's one where once you got her moveset down, it's nothing crazy. Wait for the spider to spit lava, you hit her side, and you just keep dodging until you see that attack again. At least that's the way I do it. Quail Egg's definitely nothing crazy. I'd put her right up there with Gargoyles and Ceaseless. I mean, C tier, not much to say about Quail Egg. Let's keep it rolling. Priscilla. Now, she won't attack you when you go through a fog door. She will offer you a chance to get the hell out of there. I don't recommend doing that. You might as well fight her while you're there. The nice thing is, you get the jump on her in this fight, right? Because she won't attack you until you attack her. So you can buff your weapon up, power within yourself, whatever pre-boss fight buffs you got going on. The only part that makes this fight a little difficult is that she will go invisible right after you hit her the first time. The only way to see her is to look for footsteps in the snow. So make sure you're standing in a snowy part where you can see footsteps. She does have a scythe. She does accumulate bleed damage, so if you're not ready for it, she could chunk you for some blood loss. Nothing crazy, though. The fact that she goes invisible and has bleeding effects makes me want to put her in the B tier. But like I said, you can get the drop on her, slap her up quickly before she has a chance to do that in the first place, and you should be chilling after that. Next up is Gwyndolin. Gwyndolin is not too bad. There are 3 attacks that she does down a long hallway, and as you progressively get closer, when you get to a certain proximity, you'll have a certain attack frame before she teleports back down the hallway even more. You're going to want to attack fast here. The only issue is she has 3 different attacks. 2 of them are pretty easy to dodge, the arrows and the big magic attack. When she sends the little ones, you just want to hide. Like I said, not too hard of a boss once you get the moves down, so we're going to put her right in that C category with the other ones where it's basically once you know, you know. Next up, we have Demon Fire Sage, a variant of Asylum Demon. The hardest of the 3, I wouldn't say. I'd put Demon Fire Sage right in the middle for those 3 types. Still, nothing crazy there. It's another one of those, once you know, you know. So I want to throw him right into the C category. I don't think there's much to say about him. Same movesets, he's just on fire. Next up, we have the 4 Kings. Now, they scare me because if you don't kill one fast enough, another one's going to come in, and another one's going to come in, and another one is going to come in. And if you're not careful, you're going to be flooded before you know it, and it's going to be a miserable time for you. So there's a certain pace to this boss fight that ramps up the difficulty right away. I don't think I want to put him in the S tier because the fight usually isn't that hard. It's just the fear of knowing you're on the clock. Here we go. Time to play. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think they're definitely an A tier boss. I think they're missing something from being an S tier because, you know, we'll usually kill him first try now. But just going down there is a scary place to be, for sure. Next up, we got the Gaping Dragon. Now, this fight's easy street, and that's exactly what it is. I'm going to put him in the D tier because he doesn't even hurt me at this point in my playthroughs. He's an easy boss to not even get touched by. Once he slams his head down, then you run around to his tail. He's going to run until he hits a wall, and he's just going to stop there. And he's not even going to attack you. And that's when you just unleash on his tail. And then he'll jump up, you run away, rinse and repeat, baby. Easy win, easy fight. Shouldn't even get touched. You can also chop his tail off for an axe. And if you don't want to use it, you can sell it for souls. Next up, we have Nito. He's another one of those bosses where you're pretty stacked up by the time you fight him. So him and you one-on-one isn't a big deal. However, he's not one-on-one. He's got 2 giant skeletons and 3 little skeletons fighting you the whole time. The skeletons keep respawning. And you're fighting skeletons and Nito, and it's just not a fun time. However, there are ways around this. I know there's 2 spells you could use in unison that will not awaken the skeletons, which then you're fighting Nito one-on-one, easy street. You can also run into the boss fight with a divine weapon. Also, if you don't rush Nito right away, only the 3 little guys will fight you, and the 2 big skeletons stay in the back. He also does a big AoE attack that sometimes kills the skeletons, which gives you a big window to attack them and do some damage. So I would put Nito in the B tier. He can hit hard. His AoE attack could get you. The skeletons could get you. Like I said, there's workarounds for it, but not everyone knows the workarounds. So I would keep him in that B tier because he can definitely get you once or twice for sure. Next up, we have Sif, everyone's favorite puppy dog. Sif is your typical old dog fight, big dog fight. I think most Souls games have a big dog fight. Swing at his legs. As long as you stay underneath him the entire fight, he's not too bad. Sometimes it's easier said than done, though. You know, I've been smacked up by that sword a whole bunch of times. But I don't know where I want to put him, to be honest. He's never really been too hard of a fight. I'm thinking C tier for the most part. Stay under his body. You'll be fine. Trust me. Next up, we have Iron Golem, baby. Not knowing this right off the bat, there is an easy way to cheese him. Maybe not easy because I still have yet to do it, but there's a way you can hit him on the bridge where when he falls backwards, he'll fall right off and die instantly. But he's another one of these bosses where stay under him, stay behind his butt. He will not touch you, and maybe you're not doing a lot of damage, but he's not going to do a lot of damage to you as long as you stay, you know, behind him, in between his legs. I think I'm going to put him in the D tier. With that being said, I think I'm going to throw Sif down there too because all of these guys have the same guideline. Stay behind them and swing when you need to. Dodge when you don't, you know, same kind of concept. Next up, we got Moonlight Butterfly. Moonlight Butterfly. Optional boss. It will test your patience. You're not going to know what to do the first time you fight him. You're not going to know how to attack him. You might start panicking. He's got a couple magic attacks. He usually just shoots shrapnel at you is what it kind of looks like. Pretty straightforward. You're going to need a lot of patience here. You're going to be dodging most of the fight and then unloading once you can. Another D tier boss. I don't think Moonlight gives most people any trouble for the most part. Next up is Pinwheel. Now, there's no one in the E tier slot. There's one boss that's going to go in that slot, and that's Pinwheel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you've ever died to Pinwheel. I really am. Pinwheel is probably the easiest boss in the game, I would say. It's definitely possible to die to him. I still haven't, so I can't, in the life of me, put him in the D tier slot or put him in any other slot with anybody because he's never killed me once, you know? So I don't have to say much about Pinwheel. Just don't die to him. Don't be that guy. Don't do it. Thank you. Next up, Sanctuary Guardian. First boss in the DLC, actually. He's fast, and he attacks fast, and he dodges fast, and he moves fast, and he flies. Yeah. Like I said in the beginning, with Artorias, any boss that moves fast always gives me problems, because not only is there not much of a damage window, they're going to be attacking like crazy. And if you're not ready to dodge, and if you try and blow all your stamina attacking, you're going to be caught in a bad spot. I'm going to put him in the A tier. He will he'll set the tone of the DLC. Let's put it that way. He'll set the tone for the rest of the bosses. I think the rest of the bosses are worse than him, but he sets the tone. Next up, we have Seath the Scaleless, baby. Seath is not too bad. What's gonna confuse a lot of people when you first fight him is that you're not gonna be able to damage him. You better have that Ring of Sacrifice on, because it's GG's. You're gonna die, right? It's not until you meet him later on where it's the real fight. You actually have to turn around and destroy an object before you can even actually start doing damage to him. And once you realize that, it's a clean fight after that. Nothing too challenging. He does some big AoE attacks pretty much for the most part. If you run around to his tail, he'll start doing some tail attacks. Pretty straightforward. I think Seath is in the B tier. He is a Lord boss, so you gotta show him some respect there. But like I said, not too bad once you realize what's going on, and slap him up real good. Next up, we have Stray Demon. Now, the final form of the demons that we've been looking at already, I'd probably put him right up next to his partner in crime, Fire Sage, Demon Fire Sage. They are pretty much identical in their attacks. The only difference is Demon's on fire. He's just a copy and paste of the other two. Next up, we have Taurus Demon. Another demon. Let's go. It's almost like Demon Souls was like a game they made before this or something. Weird. He's a tough one to work around. What you're gonna want to do here is a couple plunge attacks will do you just fine. He's nothing crazy. I think the challenging part here is the boss arena itself. I'd probably put him in the D tier, because if you do know plunge attacks, a plunge attack would be very good against him, so definitely do that. Next up, we have ONS. They are icon bosses in all of the Souls series. Ornstein just charges you like crazy, so obviously you're going to want to kill him first. You don't want to fight Big O. That's just not something you want to do. Definitely fight Smo second, because he's pretty slow, so he's easier to work around. Remember, the fast bosses are always the hard ones, so the fact that they complement each other so well is definitely hard. You're going to spend a lot of this fight running, but as long as you're patient with it, take your time, get Ornstein by himself, slap him up a whole bunch. They're one of the coolest boss pairs in the whole franchise. I'm not going to not put them in the A or S tier because they belong there. But I don't think they're S tier. I think they're definitely an A tier boss. Always scary going into that boss arena. Not as scary as the Four Kings for me, but always a scary time going in there because you never know what's going to happen. They're your first taste of a crazy boss pair, especially early on in this game. Next up, we have Manus. When I have nightmares at night, I see Manus at the center of it. He attacks like crazy. If you get caught in one of his attacks, it's GG's. You know, get behind him, sure, but he just keeps flopping around once you do. like I said earlier, the DLC bosses really challenge you, and I'm not even going to hesitate to put him in the S tier right along his boy, because these two guys are just scary. Scary, scary, scary business. Next up is Calamite. Basic boss strategy, get under his legs, slap him in the booty. You know the drill by now. Never had a problem with Calamite. I know a lot of people have, so he's definitely going to be, I don't think he's going to be S tier, because he was never S tier for me. I'll put him in the A tier, but he is not to be messed with lightly, but just be ready for a fight. Once you get his movesets down, he's not too bad, but he still has some crazy damage at that point, so you better have a good build ready to challenge him, or he'll expose you for what you have. And last but not least, we got the bad boy himself, Big Boy Gwyn. We're putting him in the A tier. Now, Gwyn is a tough fight, don't get me wrong. And if you're someone who parries, it's your lucky day. You can parry Gwyn. I'm a dodge and slash kind of guy. And so when I first fought Gwyn, like anyone else, he's going to tear you up until you figure him out. Just like any boss. Gwyn's one now where I have his moves down to a T. My build is complete by the time I fight him, because I know by the time I fight him, I'm committing to the next New Game Plus cycle, So by the time I fight him now, I'm stacked on another level, you know what I'm saying? Damage is off the charts, health's off the charts, so he's never really an issue now to me. But he's definitely a tough final boss. He is, after all, the OG. And that is the completed tier list for Dark Souls 1 bosses. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys liked the video. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you find out when we do another tier list video, because we're going to do a whole bunch of these as some of our content. But we're going to add some other stuff in it too. But we'll always do some tier lists. That's always great content. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. I'd love to see what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everybody.